Now imagine a single trap which you can apply from both the colors. And it is such a powerful that you can win many of your blitz games with some nice attacking ideas. Sounds very interesting, right? Welcome guys, as in today's lecture we are going to see a double trouble which arises from two different openings yet contain same venomous trap. Okay, obviously let's start with the white first. We are looking at the Tennyson Gambit move order. So if you are a e4 player, then after d5 you play knight to f3, gambiting the e-pawn. And rather than this, I strongly insist you to play the move knight to f3, as if you look at the database, d5 is by far the most popular choice. And after this, what else? Our wonderful Tennyson Gambit with e4. Okay, black took it, and after knight to g5, black has two choices to hold on to his material. But it doesn't matter to us, so let's say knight to f6 is the most popular one. And here, more than 10 years back, I have created a video starting with d3, an original version of the Tennyson Gambit. However, the modern theory suggests that white should continue with knight to c3, a tricky approach where obviously white has renewed the threat on e4. Well, recently in one of my bullet game, my 2200 plus rated opponent continued with e5, which is as per the database played in roughly 20,000 plus chess games. But I'm afraid just one move, bishop to c4, and suddenly black is having some huge problem on the f7 square. So nope, e5 is right out of the equation. Black should defend this pawn with bishop to f5. And here the fun start with this very fast development of pieces. Bishop to c4, attacking on f7. Black has to play e6. And now, rather than playing the move queen to e2 and trying to get the pawn back, I strongly insist you to continue with f3, which again has an idea of regaining the pawn back. And considering what black has played so far, if he really wants to get the pawn advantage, then he has to take it, which is of course the top choice from the database, where after queen takes f3, we sets up the first platform for our upcoming high profile trap, where white has two threats. Number one, everybody will see that b7 is dropping, but number two, a crafty one, and that is knight to f7, which is unfortunately missed by even strong players. So the most frequent response is knight to c6, addressing the one issue but falling right into white's amazing trap, and that is knight takes c7, a superb sacrifice of piece. And the big point is, when black take it, you come in with queen captures f5 thanks to the pin e-pawn, where not only white get all of his material back, but the big time factor is now black has a weak pawn situated on the e file where his king is wide open for the attack. Okay, if you look at the database here, knight to d4 is by far the most popular choice. The idea is very obvious. Black is defending the pawn, attacking the queen, as well as looking at the juicy c2 square. Surprisingly and funny enough, if you turn on the engine here, engine suggests that queen h3 allowing black to take on c2, but in that case, black king gets checkmated. So you can see that line in the PGM. However, if black doesn't take on c2, then it is bit complicated. So rather than going for that, I am going to suggest white should continue with queen to d3 and defending all black threats. Well, our idea is very obvious. We either want to play knight to e2 and c3, dislodging this knight, or if black continue with the most popular choice, namely bishop to c5, stopping our castle, then white can continue with knight to e4, not only attacking this bishop, but the threat is knight to g5. So more or less black has to take it. But then when white recapture, once again we have a simple plan, and that is after rook to e8, planning to siphon the black king, white can continue with c3, knight moves, then you attack the bishop, and when finally all of the black pieces become passive, it's time to take on h7. And if you look at this position, not only white is a clear pawn up, but look at black king, it has been pathetically placed. And if I turn on engine, well, guess what? It says it is completely winning for the white. So this is one of the high profile trap exist in the modern Tennyson Gambit, which you can definitely employ in your blitz and the bullet game with a very good success ratio. Okay, it's time for the reverse color with the same trap, and that occurs in the Budapest defense, which goes as follow: d4, knight to f6, c4, and now our thematic idea e5, where this time around white has an extra tempo with c4. So this can be a nice tactical weapon against a player who is playing this d4 c4 openings. Okay, white has to take it, and let's see if you can find the same continuation which we have seen from the white side. First move, knight to g4, attacking on e5. It doesn't matter how waver white defends. Let's say knight to f3. Do you remember the next move? Yup, knight to c6. Once again renewing the threat. So white has to defend with bishop to f4. And the most important feature is, if you look at the database, bishop to b4 has been exclusively played here. But nope, we are looking for something very special, and that is bishop to c5. Same old story. We are forcing white to play e3, and after that, nope, not queen e7, but the golden break. Yup, you indeed remember, f6. And after this, what else? If white wants to hang on to his pawn, then he has to take on f6. But after queen takes f6, look at this position, guys. Same what we have seen from the white side, and time again we have a double threat, and many white players has failed to spot it. Okay, it's time to check database. Knight to c3, top choice, but congratulations to white as he straight away fallen into our trap. And what else? This nasty knight sacrifice gives black a completely upper hand. Well, now the sequence is very obvious. King takes f2, queen takes f4, and after knight to d5, do you remember what to do? Congratulations if you find the move queen to d6, which parry all the threat. And now, thanks to the white open king and weak pawn on e3, this position really favors the black. Well, to finish up the video, I like to show you my quickest win in this line where my 2100 plus rated opponent continue with some obvious moves and still cannot hold the defeat. Bishop to d3 happened, planning to do the artificial castle. I continue with castle, and after rook to e1, the nice move knight to e5 create some huge problems. Number 1, black is threatening knight captures f3 and ripping open the white king, and number 2, knight to g4, which also create the more pressure on the e3 pawn. Well, my opponent didn't like the idea that he has to give up the light square bishop, so he played bishop to e2, second most popular choice from the database. But just 2 moves and white position is completely falling apart. Did you find it? Congratulations if you see the sequence: knight to g4 check, king to g1, and now the sting in the tail, queen to h6, where black has a double threat. Number 1, attacking on e3. Number 2, very important, sacking the rook and checkmating white on the h2 square. Obviously now, white cannot handle all of this pressure, and in the game my opponent chose the move h3, which turned out as a big time disaster, as after bishop takes e3, knight takes e3 and queen takes e3, he find elegant moment to resign the game in the view of king cannot go to f1 as queen to f2 is a checkmate, and if king goes to the h1 square, then after knight to f2, white sweetie disappear from the board and in fact the game. That's it guys, I hope you enjoy and learn this wonderful trap from both the colors. And remember the tactical pattern which I have shown in both of this line, that is, when white tried to defend his b2, he straight away fallen into this nasty knight sacrifice, whereupon king takes and queen takes f4, white get horrible pawn with the open king, and no wonder in the blitz this sort of trap works like a charm. Well, best of luck for trying your own game, and feel free to like, subscribe and comment here. I will see you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care.